All right, so today we are going to be diving deep into Mina Protocol. And we've got a ton of research here with us from their website to like Forbes, CoinGecko, Stake Seeker. Should be pretty fun.
Yeah, it's a really interesting one for sure. Mina's got this thing, they call it the world's lightest blockchain, right?
Okay.
And it clocks in at a fixed size of 22 kilobytes.
Oh, well,
Tiny
yeah.
Bitcoin, for comparison, is like 300 gigabytes, and it's only getting bigger. Right?
Yeah, that's like a grain of sand compared to Mount Everest or something. What's the secret? How did they do that?
It's this really cool thing called recursive zero-knowledge proofs, or as the cool kids call them, ZKPs.
Oh.
And they're basically like, imagine like a cryptographic black box, right?
Right.
It's a way to prove something is true without revealing the actual data.
So is that kind of like if a magician pulls a rabbit out of a hat, we see the rabbit, but we have no idea how it got there?
Exactly. You just got to trust that the magic happened. And so the way they do this, I mean, you can imagine like every transaction on a blockchain, right, gets added to this ever-growing ledger. Instead of doing that, they use these ZKPs to basically create a snapshot. So it's one small proof that represents all the transactions that ever happened.
So you're basically saying they took this massive encyclopedia and condensed it down into one index card.
Exactly. Super efficient, right? Yeah. And because of that, anyone can download and verify the entire blockchain from any device.
Okay, so that also means that there's no more like waiting hours to download the entire blockchain.
Exactly. You can just sync up in seconds from your phone, from your laptop. It doesn't really matter.
So accessibility is a big thing. Anyone can just participate in the network no matter how much, technical resources they have.
Right. You don't need like a big mining rig or anything like that. Yeah. And that leads to decentralization as well, right? More people can run nodes.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. So ZKPs are like the key ingredient here, but they're doing more than just shrinking the blockchain, right? Like how do they affect speed and privacy and things like that?
ZKPs are like this multi-tool, right? Not only do they compress the blockchain, but they also allow for faster transactions and lower fees.
Really? How so?
Because you can prove computations happen correctly without having to put everything on the chain.
Oh, yeah.
It's like having this express lane for transactions.
Yeah. So you bypass all that traffic.
Exactly.
Okay, that's cool. Now, I remember you mentioned something called Zcaps earlier.
Oh, yes, Zcaps. So basically, they're Mina's version of smart contracts.
Okay.
But with this added layer of privacy.
Okay, so can you give me like a real-world example of how that would work?
Sure. Imagine like a decentralized lending platform, right? Built on Mina, using Zcaps, borrowers can prove they're creditworthy without having to reveal their entire financial history.
So it's like I have a privacy shield for all my sensitive information. So we've got this lightweight, scalable, privacy-focused blockchain. Sounds pretty good so far. But what's the fuel? What keeps this whole ecosystem running?
Well, every blockchain needs its token, right? And for Mina, that's the MINA token.
Makes sense. So what can you actually do with this MIA token?
Well, all the typical stuff you'd expect, really. You can use it to pay transaction fees.
Okay.
You can use it for staking. And, of course, you can participate in governance.
Okay, let's break those down a little bit. We've talked about staking before, but just as a reminder for our listeners, it's essentially lending your crypto to the network to help secure it in exchange for rewards.
Right, like becoming a validator.
Right, exactly. But Mina staking is a little bit unique, right?
It is. It's tied to those ZKPs we've been talking about.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How so?
Stakers on Mina don't just validate transactions. They also participate in something called the Snarketplace.
The Snarketplace. I love that.
It's where they buy and sell ZKPs.
Okay, so it's kind of like a farmer's market, but for cryptographic proof. So who's on the selling side of that?
Those would be the snark workers.
Snark workers.
They're the ones who actually do the computational work to create the ZKPs.
So it's like a whole mini economy built around these proofs.
Exactly.
Very interesting. So is staking on Mina pretty straightforward, or are there any risks involved?
Well, like with any staking system, there are always risks, right?
Right.
So if a validator misbehaves or goes offline, they can be slashed, meaning they lose some of their staked Mina.
Oh, okay.
So it's important to choose your validators carefully and do your research.
Yeah, that's always good advice. Okay, so we've talked about the tech, the token, the unique staking mechanism. But I'm curious, how's Mina doing in the real world? What's the market saying about this project?
Let's take a look at some data from CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko.
Yeah, let's crunch some numbers and see where Mina fits into the larger crypto landscape.
So as of today, Mina is trading around 49 cents with a market cap of about $596 million.
So not quite a household name just yet, but definitely some buzz around it.
Like it.
What about its all-time high? Did it have one of those like crazy spikes we saw with other cryptos?
It did. Back in June 2021, Mina hit an all-time high of over $9.
$9. Wow.
But like many cryptocurrencies, the market cooled off a bit since then.
Okay, so the question on everyone's mind, I think, is Mina just another volatile crypto riding that wave of speculation? Or is there something more substantial to it?
Well, that's the question, isn't it? Predicting the future of crypto is like trying to read tea leaves, right? But what I find interesting is that even with the price being down from its high, a lot of experts think Mina could be huge.
Okay, so what's driving that optimism?
It goes back to what we talked about before, right? Mina's tech is fundamentally different. It's not just about creating another cryptocurrency. It's about building like a whole new foundation for the internet.
Okay, you've definitely got my attention now.
Yep.
So tell me more about this grand vision for Mina. What are they actually trying to achieve?
They want to create an internet that's more private, more secure, and verifiable too.
Okay, so an internet where users have control over their own data and trust is kind of built into the network itself.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty utopian. But are there any concrete examples of Mina solving real-world problems today?
Absolutely. We're seeing some promising use cases in DeFi, gaming, digital identity.
Okay, those are some pretty hot areas in the tech world right now. So how is Mina being applied in those fields specifically?
So for example, in DeFi, Mina Zcaps can enable lending platforms that are privacy preserving, right?
Right.
Borrowers can prove their creditworthiness without revealing their whole financial history.
That's a huge win for privacy. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, what about gaming?
Well, in gaming, you could use Zcaps to create games that are provably fair, where players can verify that the outcomes are random.
So no more wondering if those online casinos are rigged against me.
Exactly. You can actually see the math behind it.
Okay, I like that. Now, what about the digital identity space? It seems like that would be a perfect fit for Mina's focus on privacy.
Yeah, absolutely. Imagine being able to verify your identity online without having to give up sensitive information like your social security number.
Wow, that would be huge. No more carrying around those physical IDs, less worry about data breaches.
Right.
So it sounds like Mina has a lot going for it, but the blockchain space is super competitive, right? Tons of projects all vying for attention. What sets Mina apart from the crowd?
Yeah, you're right. Differentiation is key in this space. And I think Mina has a real edge because of its combination of a lightweight design, privacy features, and, it's really user-friendly.
Yeah, it's like they took the best aspects of blockchain and streamlined them into this really efficient package.
Exactly. And it's not just about the tech itself, it's also about the community.
Oh yeah, the community is super important.
Yeah, they've got this really strong community full of developers, researchers, users.
So they're all dedicated to realizing this vision of a decentralized internet. That's amazing. That community aspect is so important for driving innovation and adoption.
For sure.
But even with all those advantages, Mina still faces challenges, right? I mean, no project is perfect.
Of course. One of the biggest hurdles for any blockchain project is getting people to actually use it.
Right. Getting that mainstream adoption is the real test.
Yeah, exactly.
So what are some of the factors that could influence Mina's adoption rate?
Well, building a solid ecosystem of developers and applications is crucial. The more developers building Zcaps, the more use cases we see, the better, right?
It's kind of like a network effect.
Yeah, exactly. Another key factor is interoperability.
Oh, right. Being able to work with other blockchains.
Exactly. Mina needs to connect with other chains and integrate with existing systems for long-term success.
So it's not about creating like a walled garden. It's about building bridges to other ecosystems.
Right.
And working together to expand the reach of these decentralized technologies.
Yeah, exactly.
Are there any specific examples of Mina working towards that goal?
Yeah, they're already exploring partnerships with other blockchains like Cardano and Arbitrum.
Oh, wow. That's exciting. So it's hinting at a future where different blockchains can seamlessly work together, leveraging each other's strengths and expanding the possibilities of the technology.
Yeah, that's the beauty of the blockchain space. It's constantly evolving and pushing the boundaries.
And Mina is definitely at the forefront of that innovation.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here today. The technology, the token, the market, the applications, even the challenges and future prospects. Before we wrap up this deep dive, I want to make sure we distill all this information into some key takeaways for our listeners.
Great idea. Let's summarize what we've learned.
So if someone were to ask you, what's the deal with Mina Protocol? What would be your elevator pitch?
Mina Protocol, it's really groundbreaking. It's pushing the limits of what we can do with blockchain, you know?
Yeah.
It's built on this really innovative idea, those recursive zero-knowledge proofs, which allows them to have, like, the lightest blockchain, and maybe the most efficient one, too. They're not just stopping there, though. They're using this tech to build a better internet, right?
Yeah.
More private, secure, verifiable.
Right.
And they've already got real-world applications popping up, DeFi, gaming, digital identity. It's pretty cool.
It's like they took the whole idea of blockchain, that decentralization, the trust, and they just amplified it. And they did it with a focus on privacy and user experience, which I think is really smart.
Yeah, for sure. And community's amazing. They're so passionate and engaged, really driving this vision forward.
Yeah, that's really inspiring to see so much innovation happening in the blockchain space. But, you know, I always like to leave our listeners with something to think about, a question to maybe spark their curiosity.
I like it, a little brain teaser.
Yeah. So thinking about everything we discussed about Mina Protocol, the tech, the vision, the potential to change things, I can't help but wonder, could this be the key to a better internet for everyone? An internet where we control our own data, where privacy is like the top priority, and where anyone can participate.
That's a really deep question. There's not an easy answer.
Right.
But it's definitely worth thinking about. I'd encourage all our listeners to check out Mina Protocol, do some research, you know, look at the projects being built on it, and decide for yourselves.
Yeah, it's a journey of discovery.
Yeah.
And we're all on it together, right? The blockchain world is constantly changing, and projects like Mina are leading the way.
It's a really exciting time to be involved in all of this.
Absolutely. And who knows, maybe Mina Protocol will be what leads us to that better internet. Only time will tell. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into Mina Protocol. We'll catch you next time on The Deep Dive, where we'll explore another fascinating corner of the world of knowledge.